My name's Lizzie DiSilvestro. I work predominantly in acrylic paint, abstract media, and occasionally some fiber art. So kind of mixed medium, but usually those two, sometimes they cross over and mix with each other. But
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. So again, thank you so much for doing this. We've had a really great response, so I'm so glad that you're able to get on here. Namely, because you work in the medical industry
yeah,
during this
yeah, I
time.
guess I could have mentioned that as well. So I work as an artist, but then I also work part-time as a nurse.
Right.
I'm actually leaving the
There it
hospital right
is.
now.
The proof.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess talk. How? I mean, very simply, how are things as a nurse? I mean, first and foremost.
It's kind of weird because I think when people ask that, they expect this like, scary, stressed out answer. But I think unfortunately we haven't seen the worst repercussions of things. And as a citizen, that's hard to hear because everybody's been so cooped up for weeks, months, whatever it's been, and everybody's definitely going stir crazy. But in the hospital, we are definitely not seeing um, the results of those cases yet, full force.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really pretty quiet. We've restricted it to no visitors for adult patients, and I work in the adult population. So the hospital itself has been very quiet. Things have been different just because of that. The hospital is definitely not as busy as it is usually. But patient-wise, our census has been lower. I think just because people are doing what they can to avoid hospitals. People are not wanting to go to the ER for just anything anymore. So, but it's been hard because you feel like there's this whole big cloud over things, and so then focusing on patients that are not here for respiratory issues or what have you, trying to maintain some sense of normalcy for them and prioritizing their needs as well. I try to do what I can, and obviously it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Everybody knows about it, so I guess not bringing it up when it's not necessary is kind of how I tend to deal with it. But at the same time, I'm an external processor, if you will, so talking through things and just processing that way is definitely soothing to me. So just kind of reading the situation and doing what I can to maybe ease someone's nerves. That's kind of how my approach that I take to it. It's going to affect everyone, and it is what it is. I had to move my wedding, so I've definitely been affected by it.
Wow.
But everybody's been affected, so it's kind of like we're all just comparing circumstances, but nobody is unaffected. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been a difficult to kind of go home and try to think about my life and the things that are affecting my life, but then humbling when I come to the hospital and I realize, this could be so much worse for me, for my family, what have you. So it's an interesting field to be in and an interesting time to be a nurse, but it's the job.
Yeah. Are you scared when you go to work at all, or do you feel pretty okay?
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know that scared is the right word. I guess anxious, because like I said, we're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I do feel like I'm worried for a lot of the population that things are going to get worse, or that we're kind of waiting for the rubber band effect that, we've got that roughly 14-day lag time before you start seeing symptoms. So that could mean for healthcare workers, that could mean for anyone. And yeah, we do things to prevent it, but every day is the possibility that we're exposed to it and we could contract it, and then I could go home and take that to my fiance. So
yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's like you've got to do what you can, and then you have to try to maintain some sense of sanity or normalcy or routine, because you're of no use to anyone if you're not functioning at your best capacity possible. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the job. That's what we signed up for. And
Yeah.
so.
Do you find yourself working more creatively during this time, or has there? Because I have felt like this sort of general. Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier. Like, it does feel like this kind of cloud and this sort of like lethargy has swept everyone. And so, how do you? Are you still making right now, or are you just kind of like taking this time to breathe and like relax? What does that look like?
It's been kind of a weird balance to strike, I think, because for me, it feels almost trivial to be making art when I see firsthand how bad things are for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, that's a major part of how I process and decompress. So, working in a hospital and seeing people, not even dealing with COVID, but dealing with really difficult situations health-wise, coming home, and then I use art to kind of work through those emotions. So for me, it is really necessary. But it does feel like a time when so many people are out of work or uncertain about their work. It feels strange to, I guess, be marketing myself as an artist when a lot of people view art as a luxury. I'm just obviously speaking from my experience, but it just is, maybe for me, I feel that so acutely because of working as a nurse. But it feels strange asking people, hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing, when so much else is going on important in the world. But then I remind myself that so much of my day I spend myself wanting to be distracted from what's going on, and there's no way. We know this is going to be going on regardless. So if I could contribute something beautiful into that chaotic world, chaotic situation, then why wouldn't I? I'm also working on a series of small paper pieces that will be priced about $25 to $45, so a more accessible price range. And I'm going to be donating some of the proceeds to the food bank here in Oklahoma. I know that I've had some patients who have talked about family members who have been affected by, the food deserts or being out of work. And things like that, asking, is there anything that they could do while they're in the hospital because the cafeteria food is too expensive or whatever. So I guess it's driven me to think beyond, working at the hospital. What can I do? How can my art serve that population in a different way while still giving people the gift of art? So yeah, but just trying to think outside of the box and what can we do to make our creativity mean something other than just beauty, something nice to look at.